you like using my homemade push stick?
I did. It's like grabbing a fish.
It just kind of does look like a fish, doesn't it? But it just fits your hand. Welcome folks, today we're going to be talking about solving another common building problem. And that problem is the nosing at the top of stairs often are not in line with the nosing on the steps. So here's a good example of what I'm talking about. We're out on the front porch right now, and here we have steps, and here we have what we're going to call a landing, even though it is just the deck. You can see that we've let the decking extend past the framing on the deck so that it is perfectly in line with each nosing on the stairs. I would dare say that 95% of average homes failed to get the nosing on the landing in plane with the nosing on each stair tread below. Now, I know the code book allows for some discrepancies in this area, but it is best practice, if possible, to get them perfectly in line because you just might trip and fall if it's wrong. It's amazing how sensitive we are to even small changes in step size and height. Okay, here in a second, I'm gonna walk you through the steps. The steps.
You guys need a teleprompter.
Thank you. Thanks for the tip. Okay, so let me walk you through the process that I use to determine where does the nosing go, okay? Because it's not really easy to figure out unless you do some serious thinking. On this particular job, it was necessary for us to install the flooring before the stair treads. So I need to mock up the stair treads to know exactly where they will be in the finish, and that will help me to determine where does the nosing go on the landing. These stairs were already framed by two expert carpenters, that's Arlo and Eric, so I know that I've got good solid framing to work with. I did, however, verify all the heights of the risers from the finished floor downstairs to the finished floor upstairs before I started this process to make sure that I didn't have a discrepancy that I would have to deal with. I didn't have any stair treads on site, so what I did is I took a piece of 1-inch thick decking and I made this beautiful rounded edge with my hand plane to represent the stair tread. I'm using a plain piece of 3/4 inch wood flooring to represent the riser, which is 3/4 of an inch thick. You can see that I drew some lines on this. This is a 1 1/4 inch overhang. That's how far the tread will hang past the front of the riser. I removed each temporary tread so that I could put my mock-up pieces in place and trace these shapes onto the wall. That would allow me to pull a straight edge across all the nosings and extend it past the steps up to the nosing on the landing. After I chalked a line across the edges of all the stair nosings, I took a scrap piece of my bull nose from the landing and I just simply slid it up until it met up with that line, and then I marked it in position on the floor. Right here I have the actual piece of nosing that I'm using at the top of the stairs, and you can see that I've mated it up with the first plank of wood flooring that it's going to be attached to. The reason I did that is because this is only a 3-inch wide nosing, and by the time I slid it out to its correct position, it was only bearing on the floor by about 3/4 of an inch. Now you're going to be stepping on the front edge of this, and guess what? You can't attach it through that 3/4 edge that, by the way, has a groove milled out the back of it. I used my domino tool and some dominoes and glue to glue this together and made sure it was perfectly flat when I clamped it up. You can see that there's actually a gap in the back because the way that flooring is made, there is a gap at the back so that when you push the boards tight, they always hit tight on the front. This piece of stair nosing is going to meet up in a corner with another piece, and you can see I have it mitered right here, and I use my biscuit joiner to put a nice little slot in there so that I can glue and connect this together really well. This piece of nosing that you're going to step on where the stairs are will be getting a lot of force put on it, so I thought it'd be a good idea to make a nice solid connection to the next piece. Okay, to make sure you know exactly what I mean about this hanging off so far, I've positioned it on this scrap wood exactly the way it's going to be in the house. Only 3/4 of this piece is on the framing, not enough without other support. So later on, we are going to have a riser. It's going to go right up underneath. It's going to be tight. It's going to be glued right here. Then, after that's done, we're going to be adding a secondary piece of trim that will go right here, and that will also offer some support to the front of the nosing. If you're wondering why I have blue tape on this board, I'll tell you why. I made a little jig at the top of the stairs to hold all of these pieces in their perfect positions so that I could take them in and out and be sure that they went back in the exact same place. When I went to the shop to join these boards together with the domino, I was certain that I put them back in the same position because I realigned the edges of the tape perfectly, and now I know it's going to fit my template just like it did yesterday. Thanks for watching the video today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and we'll catch you later.